Seestar and SAS, Part 2. Scratch that. Dwarf and SAS, Part 2, Drizzling. Welcome to Seti Astro. So I had a viewer send me in his dwarf robotic telescope data, and I figured that'd be a perfect opportunity to go into drizzling or upscaling. The dwarf has roughly the same kind of field of view as the S30 Seestar. So let's just go ahead and open up one of his raw files first. And we can see it has a focal length of 150 and a pixel size of 2. Now I had to do a bit of sleuthing, but on the 150 millimeter focal length telephoto lens, it does have a 35 millimeter aperture, putting it right at about an f ratio of 4.3. So that means with pixels of about 2 micrometers of a pixel pitch, you could probably push this system to about f11, maybe a little more. So we'll definitely go try drizzling and potentially upscaling. Now the first thing to note is, unlike the Seestar, you're definitely going to take darks with the dwarf. There's tons of little hot pixels and stuff like that, and he did provide dark calibration frames for me as well. So let's go ahead and open the stacking suite. All right, let's go ahead and open the stacking suite. I'm going to go ahead and use the wrench to set a new folder for my project. I'm going to go ahead and add all the darks he sent me. And then click Turn those darks into master darks. All right, you can see the master dark was created. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add all the lights. And he had 2 nights worth of data. And you can see that it's applying the master dark for us. I'm also going to click Enable Cosmetic Correction. So we're going to do the dark subtraction and cosmetic correction, and then just say calibrate those light frames. It'll do all the dark subtraction first, and then go through and do the cosmetic correction. Okay, with the dark calibration complete, we can now move ahead and do our stacking. What you want to do is highlight the group. We're going to enable drizzle. We're going to go 2x. And then someone on our Discord had some really great advice. Your drop shrink should roughly be 1 divided by your scale. So if you're going 2x, you should probably be somewhere around a half. I'm going to go 0.65. If you're at 3x scale, you probably want to be down at like 0.3 or 0.4. And in general, just go like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click Register and Integrate Images. First thing it does is debayer to do measurements. And then it's going to pop up what it thinks is the best reference frame. Go in, you take a look, make sure nothing's like smeared around really bad or anything, or there's no double stars like it was weird double exposure. And I'm just going to click Use this reference frame. Now it's going to go in with the stacking. I do have 306 files here, so it's going to take a couple minutes. Okay, drizzling's done, and it actually stacked 296 of the 306, so that's really good. Let's go ahead and open it up. And you can see it made the normal integration file and the drizzle file. Now the drizzle file is quite big. It's 7700 by 4300. And you can start seeing the Sol Nebula in here. And you can see that the dwarf does have some pretty good stellar aberration here. It looks like, it looks like spherical aberration off to one side, and I don't know if you can collimate these or not, or if it is what it is. I'm not very familiar with the dwarf. But first things first, we got to crop it. And I don't know if you guys knew, but you could actually pull this to the side and get the like a bigger window. So it's up to you guys if you just want to see a bigger window there. After doing that, let's go ahead and remove the pedestal. I'm going to open the histogram to show you guys what that actually is doing for us. So here's our current stack, and I'm just going to click remove the pedestal. And it slid the minimums all over. All right, the next thing we want to do is remove the gradient. So I'm going to click my ADBE. Let's go ahead and do an auto stretch. Now there are a lot of, now it is a big image, so maybe we want some additional points. It's a pretty complex gradient. We'll leave it on 2. It's a pretty smooth gradient overall. So maybe we want like a 0.4 on the smoothness. And let's go ahead and draw out all the areas we don't want to be part of that background. So let's go ahead and exclude the whole Sol Nebula here. And this one right here too. Let's go ahead and process it. All right, it says gradient removal completed successfully. Click OK. And now we have our image with the gradient removed. The next thing we want to do is white balance it. Now I guess I've recently revamped my white balance so you can run it from the linear state, and it's going to do a lot of other things for us. It's a lot more powerful now, and you'll see here in a second. It also will take just a few seconds to open, as it has to calculate the initial white balance for the user interface. All right, the initial number of stars is crazy. It did take a bit. It's 13,700 stars, and it's just because there's, tens of thousands of stars in this image. So you don't want to try to white balance against those many points. So I'm going to click way over here. Don't try dragging the slider, just click, and it's going to set the threshold much, much higher, such that we're only getting the best signal to noise ratio stars. All right, even up at a sigma of about 4.4, there's 6,200 stars. That's fine. Click apply. Then it's going to say it white balanced it with those 6,400 stars. And it's also going to give us a graph of just where all the stars were originally and where they all got lined up to. So like a before and after. You can see before, there's a lot of green stars, and green doesn't exist in nature, right? And they were all shifted off the neutral point. So 1,1 here is the neutral area. After the white balance, it got them all in line with the neutral, and they're more aligned to kind of the normal diagonal, where to the left there's the bluer stars over here, and then as you go further and further to the right over here, you get those orangey and red stars, and those are the ones you would expect. You wouldn't expect a weird kind of line like this. So the white balance did an amazing job there. All right, on to cosmic clarity. The aberrations in the stars are pretty extreme, and there's quite a bit of noise. So I'm gonna take it in 2 parts. I'm gonna go ahead and do the sharpening, and then I'm going to do denoising instead of just both all at once. And I want to be careful in the denoising that it doesn't get a whole bunch of stellar-like structures after the denoising where it thinks noise is stars, and that could be. That plagues a lot of noise reduction neural nets. So I'm going to try it in cosmic clarity, see how it goes. I'm also going to try it in Graxpert denoise, right? We have plenty of tools in our tool belt. I'm going to try to stick to free things, so I'm not going to use NoiseX. But let's go ahead and do our sharpening first. We can click the PSF viewer. This has been updated quite a bit as well. And it's showing a median half flux radius of about 5.2. So that's what we can use in cosmic clarity. I'm going to go ahead and slide this up to 5.2. Stellar sharpening, I'm just going to leave at the 0.5 because the aberrations are so strong. If we go really aggressive right off the bat, we could get some weird artifacts around that. And we could always use halo begone and morphological erosion later as well. And for non-stellar sharpening, I think we'll keep it at the default as well, because I know we're going to be combating noise here in a bit. So I'm going to click execute. All right, we got it sharpened. So I'm going to go ahead and save this out as well, because we want to try Graxpert, and I don't have Graxpert denoise incorporated into SAS yet. But this is going to be my sole Sharpen.tiff. I'll just save it to my desktop. So I'm going to try it two ways. I'm going to run denoise here in Seti Astro Suite in Cosmic Clarity, and then once in GrAxpert, and we'll see how they both go. I'm going to put it at about a 0.7 here and execute. So Cosmic Clarity finished, and you can see, although it's not really stars, it's definitely dimpled, and that's not what we really want. I have GrAxpert here pulled up as well, and I'm going to run its denoise, and I'm just going to use whatever's better, right? They're all tools we have in our tool belt, so if one's going to work better than the other in a particular use case, absolutely go for what is going to give you the best result. All right, it's done. There's a fair bit of dimpling as well, but I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we'll open them both in SAS. Does look like GrAxpert may have also did some color balancing, maybe, because the output is a different shade, but the dimpling is less in the GrAxpert one, so that's the one I'm gonna keep utilizing for processing. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that from slot 1 to slot 0, just to keep things clean. And I'll clear slot 1. Try to minimize how much RAM I'm using, even with all the RAM I have available. It's these drizzle files are pretty darn large. All right, the next thing to do is going to be star removal. So I'm going to click star minus. Dark star is still in development, so I'm going to give it a go here with StarNet. Yes, the image is linear, and we'll let it rip. All right, stars were removed, and it pushed the stars only image into slot 1, and you can see a fair bit of residual star bits left over. So let's go ahead and open Blemish Blaster and blast those away. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and do a statistical stretch on them, just to do an initial stretch here. I'm going to try at like a 0.18 and click apply stretch. Now, being in a linked stretch on a duo filter, even though we balanced it to the stars, there's going to only really be oxygen and hydrogen available in the image itself. So it's going to give you reds, purples, and blues, right? Because oxygen's kind of that tealy blue, and hydrogen's kind of that red. So, I mean, that's realistically what that is going to look like in those colors. But what we can do is go over to the perfect palette picker, and we can say, hey, this file in the slot here is HAlpha 03. It's not linear. We did do that initial stretch, so let's say create palettes, and now we could look. Here's the HOO palette. Here's a 4X palette. Realistic 2. Realistic 1. I'm kind of liking what the 4X is doing. We got some color on the outer rims. The brighter bits in here are more well defined, so I'm going to say push palette for further processing. And now we have it in here. I think now is a great time to go ahead and let's use some curves. So the background here is, around that 0.15 range. So we can double click there. We can bring that down, and then the center, we want to bring that up. So we want to add a little contrast between the background and that center portion there. Click apply curve. All right, now we're starting to look pretty good. I think what we may want to do is maybe let's use little masks, huh? I'm going to say create mask. I'm going to select the entire image, and I want a lightness mask. We're going to give it a fair bit of blur. Click preview mask. Perfect. We're going to save the mask, and we're going to go ahead and manipulate it. We're going to put it in mask slot 0 for right now. And what we are going to want to do is move it from slot 0 to image slot 2. I want to manipulate it. So here's our mask slot, or here's our mask. What we're going to want to do is go ahead and invert it, Control I. And I'm going to do some curve adjustments. What we want is the background to be all bright and the middle to be all dark. Yeah, something like this. What we're going to want to do is utilize masks in order to desaturate the outer regions while keeping the color in there. So apply curve. And now we can go ahead and put that back. So we want to move the image from slot 2 to mask slot 0. It's going to ask if you want to override it. Go yep. So now if I click, well, first we could preview it, make sure it's what we want. Yep, there's our mask. You can just click mask slot 0 and it's going to say it's applied. And now we can manipulate the outer portion without affecting the inner portion. I'm going to go ahead and click chroma. And just bring the chroma down. So that's going to reduce any color noise and color blotching that may be out in the outer skirts. And I'm going to click apply. And while we have it here, we could actually do some other manipulations. If we want to darken the background a little, we can go ahead and do that. See how it's affecting it there. Just a little bit. You don't want to go too heavy with these masks. And now if you preview the mask again, we can invert it. And now it's going to affect the stuff that's in the middle. Apply from slot 0. And now we can go ahead and do things like raise up on the chroma a little bit. Chroma is pretty powerful. You want to kind of be a little easy with that. I'm going to apply curve. And maybe we want a little S-curve in here for a little added contrast. Okay, I'm going to turn the mask off. Now we're starting to look pretty good. The next thing we could do is try to enhance some of the structure a little bit. So I'm going to go into frequency separation. And it's this broader structure we want to be working with. So it's probably going to be a bigger radius, like an 8. Let's just click that and see what it looks like here. Close, it's probably going to be even more. 15. Okay, now let's go ahead and give it a little bit on the scale sharpening and a little bit on the wavelet boost. And we could also enable the high frequency denoise too. Keep that pretty light and we'll just give that a shot. And I think it's looking like substantially noisier like that. I'm going to click undo. I guess it's not too much. I'm actually going to turn off the wavelets and just do scale sharpening. And I'm going to keep the denoise strength at about a 1.5 and hit apply. Alright, and then I'm going to click combine high frequency and low frequency and apply changes, push for processing. And I just opened it in Grexpert. I'm going to denoise it from here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save it out. Alright, now I opened it back up in Seti Astro Suite. And that level of noise and is probably all the better we're going to get here on the dwarf data. But that's perfectly fine. I think I want to create one more lightness mask and really pull up the brighter portions here. So I'm going to create mask, select the whole thing. I want another lightness mask. Give it some blur. We're going to go ahead and save it to slot 0. And now we're going to go ahead and apply it. I'm going to go to curves. And now this is really affecting the brighter portions. So I'm going to pull those brighter portions up a little bit. And maybe we want to add a little bit of chroma into those brighter portions as well. Going to apply curve. And then remove your mask. I've also noticed a little bug I got to correct. So I'm going to actually click Create Mask one more time. Select the entire image. Just leave it as a binary. Preview it. Save it. I'm going to save it into slot 0. And the reason being is when we put the stars back in, for whatever reason, the stars combination tool is looking at that mask slot 0. So if you left a mask in there, it's gonna throw off some of your results. But I'm gonna click stars only, and let's go ahead and do our star stretch. We'll give it like a 6 and a little bit of a color boost, and click refresh preview. And now I can see that there's a little bit of magenta in some of these stars, so I'm going to click Control I. That inverted it. And now if you remove the green, the inversion of green is magenta. So we're actually removing the magenta, and hit Control I again. And now to deal with some of the haloing and stuff here, let's go over to Halo Be Gone. And we're just going to try running it on the lowest setting. And that took a fair bit of that halo gone. That's the before and after. I might even click it up to low. There, that's much more controlled. Really helped with the aberrations going on there. And now we can hop over and combine them. So let's go ahead and click Add Stars. We want our star list is from slot 0. Our stars only is from slot 1. And click Apply. And there we go. And there we have it. Final image from the Little Dwarf robotic telescope of the Sol Nebula. It's, I would think, a fairly ambitious target to try to get with it, considering how short the exposures are and just how tiny that telescope actually is. So really cool. What a neat thing that you can go out and do and set up. And I'm glad some of these small robotic telescopes are getting more people into the hobby, because there is a bit of a step into the hobby price-wise to really get rolling with astrophotography. And you know, this is great to help people get their foot in the door, use a lot of these tools, right? I stuck with completely free tools today, and then as they progress in their own hobby, bigger telescopes, better sensors, you know, they'll already have a lot of their tools in their tool belt, how to process, honestly, challenging images, right? This is a very noisy image, a lot of aberration in it. And when they start getting better equipment, they're going to know all these tricks in order to help their processing along, and it's an amazing first step for anybody getting like a Dwarf or a Seestar to hop into the hobby and get processing. Well, I hope you liked the video. It was a little longer one. Please comment, like, and subscribe.